friends, this is Caroline, and this week I channeled a message from the collective that asked them to speak on what has happened to the coastal town of Lahaina in Hawaii and Maui, saying that there are so many reports of deliberate mishandling of that horrible event, and as well directed energy weapons being used and plans to reuse that area for what they call a 15-minute city, an AI-controlled city where people's movements are highly, highly restricted and everything's digitally controlled. So I asked the collective to address this. And as usual, they flow these beautiful energies to us. And I hope that you are inspired and encouraged by their message. And so I asked them, could you assist us, please, in terms of how we view these tremendous losses, not only of animal and human life, homes and businesses, but sacred sites for the indigenous peoples there, sacred artifacts and wood carvings and just things that, historical archives, things that apparently, from our viewpoint, can't be replaced. And they give an amazing answer. So I'll bring them in now and I'll share what they shared with me. Greetings, dear ones. We are, as always, very pleased to assist. In this case, we would say that you were correct, that this was indeed a planned attack, one intentionally aimed to harm not only the indigenous of the area and to debase the sacred sites, but also the energies instilled into the earth in that place over centuries by very high spiritual ritual and ceremony. It also aimed to destroy the intentions of the native people, to treat the earth as a beloved grandmother, to treat earth as an expression of divinity, as they know themselves to be also. And so this is a very difficult and unwieldy moment, because you see the presence of all of that innocence and goodness in so many of the indigenous and their children who were forced out of their homes and barely survived. And as you say, some did not survive on the physical level. It is to the credit of star nations that many, many more did not lose their lives to that conflagration. There was significant intervention there. Please know that. It is also a testament to the strength of Mother Earth that she was able to at least partly subdue these falsely spurred on winds and able to maintain her integrity below the surface of where the fires were, so that new life will spring up as the old is released. You are aware that at times fire represents a kind of alchemy. And this is not to say that there was not great evil enacted in Lahaina, or that it needed to burn up so that something better could come in its place. That is not so. Yet we would say that there has long been an installing and anchoring of darker energies in that part of the world, which in part does explain the well-anchored crime syndicates in the islands of Hawaii and their goings-on. Despite the trauma it caused the local population, in the alchemy of that fire, much was released energetically that those criminal organizations were depending upon. These are energetic constructs that one can feel at times in places in many parts of the world. It may seem unbelievable, yet the soul groups of the Hawaiian Indigenous have been meeting in the higher realms and deciding that something had to change there. Otherwise, the light that they had been anchoring into those islands and all of the earth would not fully take hold in the context of ongoing energetic conflict with the darker energies. Now, regarding the crime syndicates and the corporate cooperation with those gangs of suited, high-flying persons who are using Hawaii as a port between East and West for their purposes. Releasing the energies of these ones does not come as easily as one might think, because they are backed by dark powers which are happy to support criminal enterprises. International drug trafficking being one of them, of course, yet there are others. And so as you were looking at these terrible fires and realizing that there were historical, sacred sites, artwork, symbols, and archives in that area which are seemingly lost, as well as human life, keep in mind that when someone leaves the earth, almost without exception, they have decided to take that particular exit point and to return home. In reality, there is no loss, because this earth life is not fully who you are. It is not the real you, as they say. It is only a part of who you are in terms of your etheric capabilities and your soul presence, which is the essence of your true self, beyond all earth identities and all cultural identifications. Except to say that some people are rather young souls, and others have been around and traveled that good red road toward higher consciousness and ascension for quite a while, and are a bit more evolved. Now, many hearing or reading this will be highly evolved beings who will look at this situation with their empathic sense of caring and compassion, and they will agree that this was a great injustice. And we would say none of this destruction really needs to happen. And yet, we choose to be patient with Earth's path of transmuting that which can no longer be borne by a planet now moving into fifth dimensional life. No one would want to take any form of darkness with them into such a new and beautiful form of living. In this case, the soul groups of the Indigenous of Lahaina, including those ancestors whose bodies returned to the earth in sacred burial sites, decided to create a very great ceremony. They saw the timeline containing this horrible event and took proactive decision to take advantage of what was aimed at them to burn off in that alchemically potent time much of the energies that have existed in Hawaii over the last few centuries. These were instilled, of course, by the colonizing forces that did not come in to civilize, as they claimed, but to rob, destroy, program, and control. That destructive path stated that all land is something that one can buy or steal, and therefore own. Likewise, one could then own and enslave the native peoples, or annihilate them, or humiliate them, pushing them off their ancestral lands. In this, these ones violated the land for their own dark purposes, and while removing indigenous influence from that part of the world, which of course powerfully affects everything else on the planet. So-called colonizing efforts were also a clear agenda to rob humanity of its connections to star nations, as well as to bring people to a place where they very robotically do as they're told without question. What has been termed a New World Order, quote unquote, is actually the old one, and is ending now, though appearances seem to indicate otherwise. All of you and your powerful, light-filled presences are seeing to the end of those false intentions. This desperate last attempt on the part of the old warlords and their overlords to destroy a powerful stronghold and a centuries-old indigenous presence will fail. What the dark machine has failed to realize is that the very thing they despise still lives on in people's hearts and minds and souls, whatever may be removed outwardly. and that whatever they do to the land or to any indigenous culture in the outer sense, these actions cannot be compared to the power of what the indigenous person holds in their own heart space. They will anchor light into the land all the more now. We are seeing this daily. You see as well widespread concern for the 150-year-old banyan tree held in people's hearts as sacred for more than a century. Scientists have found in that being a beautiful symbol of rebirth, in that the roots of the tree are still alive and hold living tissue. With dedicated care, if it chooses to remain, the tree and its many trunks will be restored. We are assisting with that, as we are assisting those who have lost loved ones and homes and businesses. Viewed on a soul level, those who lived in that area who have lost their homes and community will be redirected, and as they move to another area, they will be planting that same powerful light into the earth in that place. Do not doubt that star nations are intervening. Many of us are powerfully present there. We have not forsaken or forgotten anyone. For those who have lost loved ones, we would say, this is a very difficult time. Yet the alchemy of that inner fire will be used to recreate much that is in the consciousness and hearts of those who are suffering now. We are aware that this will seem not at all a comfort to those who are in grief. We do not take grief lightly, as it is a profound, very transforming experience and can be difficult to move beyond, dear ones. Yet paradoxically, in loss, there can be great renewal. There is the renewal of realizing that physical life is entirely ephemeral, except for that which belongs to the spirit. Be in energetic support of those in Lahaina who are still on the earth, as they will be actively working now to fulfill the soul contracts they created, in which they are healing not only the land and their community, but also healing other parts of those islands as well as land elsewhere. Now the attention of the world has been put on Hawaii, and much love and compassion extended there, with increasing awareness as to the dark plan of how the area will be, quote, redeveloped, unquote. This consciousness and the light it holds far outshines and outstretches any dark presence or intent. And this too is a higher reason for those needing one for why such events have occurred. You will recall that after the dark events of September 11th, so much love, empathy, and compassion was expressed by the people of the world to those of the United States that it lifted the vibration of the entire planet. None of these events are for naught, dear ones, though it may appear that way at times. In time, all reverts to the light from which it came. The shock and trauma experienced during and after such events are never the full story. We assure you that your Star Nation's families are hard at work at every hour, with many ships above the island of Maui and many personnel of the Ashtar Command working to heal and assist, to help restore courage, inner balance, and normalcy, yet on a far higher level than it existed prior to this time. The waters reaching that coastal town are full of healing as well, despite the dark side's attempts to kill off all ocean life and to remove all cetaceans. There is great light being sent from the whale and dolphin families now that will only continue. They feel and see what is occurring, and they know their role to anchor great light and higher vibrations as the angelic guardians of the seas. Recall as well, all of you came in to offer balance and renewal, and to restore courage even in the midst of great discouragement and grief. all of you are holding light for those persons, places, homes, and histories that are seemingly lost. Holding light which assists greatly in the recovery of far more than what people feel is possible now. So be reassured, dear ones. The historical archives, the beautiful wood carvings of the elders, the indigenous artifacts, the sacred sites, all still exist in the etheric and can be drawn forth from such. All is not lost, much is on the ships, and all of the etheric blueprints remain for recreation of these. The Ashtar Command is more involved now in human life, not less. Their interventions are increasing, particularly due to the planned installation of the AI-controlled cities. You have decided, the light-bearer soul groups now on Earth, that these plans will not succeed. Know that even in these times when extreme events occur, this is due to the depths of your own soul commitments and soul requirements, that the profound darkness that took over the planet for thousands of years now be brought up to the surface and released. And the heart chakra of your planet is still utterly in place, friends. There is no destruction there, no loss. How could there be with all of you holding so much light in your hearts and souls? You yourselves hold the capacity for so much joy. We could only assist as you request our help. And so in these moments when you ask questions, we flow energies and insights to sustain your outlook and your spirit, and to reassure you that somehow, even in the midst of seemingly terrible events, in that place in which your soul and its beautiful power resides, all still have full power and presence and astounding co-creative capabilities. As you are building a new earth, please allow these transformative and transmuting moments. For this you came. All is well. Namaste, friends who are family. You are never forgotten nor left behind, and we are with you always.